Let's go. Let's go. UFC 290 pay-per-view week. Geeks are in the building. We got a picks and predictions video going down. We're breaking down every single fight from the bottom to the top. We're going to kick it out in one video. Let's do this. First fight of the night. We got KIRK, 11-5, coming out against Esteban Ribovics, who's 11-1. Took his first loss last time out to Loic. That was a crazy fight. That was a crazy fight. I thought he had a good argument to win that. KIRK, he's a kind of, shown us his flashiness. He's kind of been humbled. I'm taking Esteban Ribovics to bounce back here. He needed to work on his wrestling. I know that that's a lot to ask for and not a lot of time, but I think Esteban, he has only a few things to tune up, and he's a killer, man. So I'm taking Ribovics by finish. What do you got, Dano?
I like what you're thinking. I'm taking Esteban as well. For me, KIRK is really good, but sometimes just gets a little wild, like you were saying, and that wildness opens himself up for opportunities to be clipped, to be dropped, to be, you know, hit multiple times throughout the fight. So I think Esteban, with his clean striking, will be able to do that. He'll put some hands on Kirk and get his hand raised.
Juicy?
This one's tough. Kirk gets hit a lot. All right. I just saw that. He's getting hit like 5 times a minute, 37% striking defense. El Gringo has some bombs on his fist, and I think he's going to catch him here. So El Gringo by knockout. That is Esteban Ribovics.
Let's go. We're moving in the next one. We got a flyweight scrap here. Shannon Ross, 13-7, representing the Aussies. He's coming out against Jesus Aguilar, 8-2. Mexican fighter. I want to say he's out of Entrom. This he's decent, man. He's got his tricks. He's a really short fighter at flyweight, but he's got a nasty guillotine. He does have, good finishing capabilities. Shannon Ross, a tough dude, and I feel like that's kind of been the story with this guy is he's tough. He's always hurt. But it's just not really cutting it for me. I feel like Jesus Aguilar at this point in his career is just a more put together fighter. And when it comes down to toughness, I don't really see this being like a barnyard brawl. So I'm taking Jesus Aguilar. What do you got, Goose?
I'm going to be on Shannon Ross here. I don't think he's shown his best in the UFC to this point. He's had some really tough matchups with his Contender Series matchup was a brawl, and then he got who was it last time? Clayton Rodriguez. Jesus Aguilar, very short. He gets a lot of his wins by guillotine. I don't really see Shannon Ross shooting takedowns in this one. He's definitely better on the feet, and he can hold his own in the grappling as well. I think if Aguilar gets him down, he will win those rounds. But Shannon Ross, slight underdog, definitely better on the feet, pretty solid takedown defense. I'll take a shot.
Fair enough. Dano, what do you got?
I'm all over Aguilar in this one because Shannon Ross, I feel like, shouldn't have even been in the UFC in the first place. He loses on the Contender Series round 2 TKO. And then he gets that shot against Clayton Rodriguez, who Clayton Rodriguez puts his hands on him and TKO Shannon Ross once again. We have a 34-year-old flyweight who is coming off 2 TKO losses. I don't know how much that chin's going to hold up in this one. I'm taking Aguilar to throw some bombs.
Yeah, Aguilar, I think he had a KO on the Contender Series, and it was crazy because he was known for the guillotine. But we're tuning into the next one. We got a bantamweight scrap. Cameron Saaiman, 8-0, coming out against Terrence Mitchell, 15-2. This is a good scrap right here, but I'm going to ride Cameron Saaiman. This one's really going to push him here. He's going to have to definitely utilize a lot more of his game in this one. But his stand-up is so elite. So I think Saaiman can keep it on the feet and kind of just pitter patter his way to a decision win. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a finish. He's got good grappling, but Mitchell's a pretty good grappler himself. So I'm taking Cameron Saaiman by decision. What do you got, Dano?
I'm with you. I like Cameron Saaiman by decision. I think that's a really good play just because he's 22. The UFC knows what they're doing with Cameron Saaiman. They've been hiding him on the early prelims of all his fights, and they've been giving him matchups that he can win. I feel like they're not setting him up to lose, not just yet, at least. So I feel like Cameron Saaiman will get his hand raised, and I do like decision in this one.
Goose?
I'll go with Cameron Saaiman. He's really got a brutal style. He's trying to just bust you up. You know, he's not going to hit you with the one-shot KO typically. He's throwing wild. He does get a lot of fouls. I could see if he starts getting points taken, that would be Mitchell's best path to victory here, to be honest, because every fight he's had warnings or points deducted. But I think the leg kicks will start chewing Mitchell up. And then come round 2, round 3, Simon's really going to be letting the hands go. Good wrestling defense. And Mitchell's best path is going to be getting it to the ground. However, I look back his last loss, 30-second KO against Kai France. I think if Kai France is doing that to you, Simon will be able to find the shots as well, especially over the course of 3 rounds.
All right, let's go. We're moving to the next one. We got a light heavyweight scrap. VITOR PETRINO 8-0 coming out against MARCIN PRACHNIO 16-6. I'm taking VITOR PETRINO here. I know that PRACHNIO is definitely going to have, experience, probably be just a little bit more of a well-rounded fighter, if we're being honest, probably more composure in these types of settings, but he's chinny. And VITOR PETRINO, not a guy that you can necessarily be chinny with. So I'm taking PETRINO to land a big shot. I know that he might be losing rounds in this fight, but I have faith that within 15 minutes, he's going to be able to blast PRACHNIO with something, because PRACHNIO does react to a lot of different shots, and PETRINO brings a different kind of power to the octagon. So give me that inside the distance. Dano, what do you got?
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to take the other side. I just think that PRACHNIO is kind of on a little bit of a run here. He had a lot of, momentum after that last weird fight against William Knight. And just age difference. We got a 25-year-old PETRINO and a 35-year-old PRACHNIO. I just think that this will be one of those fights where 8-0 25-year-old, not the most experienced in the world, and I feel like PRACHNIO, like you were saying, CEO, he has a lot of experience, so I feel like he's just going to outvet this one, and it could definitely be a decision.
100%. What do you got, Goose?
I'm going to go with Victor PETRINO. I think he gets the KO in this one because he's going to push forward. PRACHNIO in his last fight was just leg kicking William Knight the whole time. He didn't really want to get in range at all. William Knight didn't attempt to get in range. But PETRINO, he's going to be coming forward. He's really going to be hunting that shot. And I think once you get in the pocket with PRACHNIO, that you can hit him and you can put him down. William Knight, he even got close and he wasn't even going for it. I think PETRINO is just going to hunt it down like a dog and get the KO in this one.
All right, let's go. We're moving to the next one. Looks like it was settled at a catch weight at 130. Interesting. EDGAR CHAIREZ 10-4 coming out against TATSURO TAIRA 13-0. I'm gonna take TATSURO TAIRA to put the grappling boots on and strap this boy down. TATSURO TAIRA, definitely that phenom coming up at the flyweight division. It's gonna be interesting to see, who EDGAR, what kind of challenge EDGAR proposes to him, but I'm taking TATSURO. What do you got, Dano?
I'm with TATSURO as well. I just feel like same thing with Cameron Saman, and the UFC knows what they're doing with him. They've been keeping him early on cards to not really expose him to the masses because they are feeding him not the best of guys, but they are getting those wins up. They are getting the UFC experience up with these guys. I feel like this is another example of that, where TATSURO will go in there and take care of business against EDGAR.
Go, what do you got, Goose?
TATSURO TAIRA, he's one of my favorite prospects right now. He's got a little bit different grappling style being out of Japan that a lot of these guys don't see too often. And I think that CHAIREZ will fall victim to that. I'm going to go TATSURO TAIRA submission. I'm thinking round 2, but it could be round 1.
Fair enough. All right, moving to the next one. We got a light heavyweight scrap here. It is Jimmy CRUTE 12-3-1 coming out against Alonzo Menefield 13-3-1. This is a rematch after they just had a draw a few months back. Wow, that was just a wild fight. Dude, I think this fight really comes down to the shape Alonzo Menefield's going to come in, because I think that we all saw in the first fight that Alonzo can wrestle with Jimmy CRUTE a little bit. Like he was, having some success in the defense department. Like, Jimmy CRUTE wasn't all gas on him, like too crazily. And Jimmy CRUTE, bro, like I don't know if it was his gas tank or if his stand-up is really just like that, but I can't trust that. Like I rewatched that fight and just the way that he stands on the feet and takes some punches, like I can't trust that. And I feel like Alonzo knows in that from that last fight, like, listen, I just need to have enough gas and I can do this. So I'm gonna trust Alonzo here to get a finish. I know that looking back, like Jimmy CRUTE was much more competitive than like initial thoughts, but I think Alonzo is going to beat him here. I think he's going to land a shot. Jimmy CRUTE's stand-up is going to have to come a long way. What do you got, Goose?
My mind's going Benefield, my heart's going CRUTE, and I'm picking Jimmy CRUTE in this one. I'm nervous, obviously. I saw him standing there, not moving his head, getting crunched by shots, but the grappling, there's definitely a different level that CRUTE is on from Benefield. I think Benefield will probably not be throwing as hard early just because he did gas out last time, and that will help CRUTE. But I think it's just a matter of him getting the wrestling going before he gets knocked clean out, because you give him any chance to get back up. He's a dog. He's going to do it. And I think CRUTE gets it done. Probably, honestly, I see him getting a submission.
All right, Dana, what do you got?
I think I'm gonna ride with Alonzo Benefield in this one, just because Benefield's what they go to a draw last time.
Draw.
This
Yeah.
is the rematch where I believe it was because Benefield was winning, but then he held the fence and he got a point taken away and yada
No
yada yada.
warning.
So I feel like that will be in the back of the mind of CRUTE, who seems like he's kind of a bit of a head case, just in the sense of he has these good wins and then he has these bad losses and he can't really correct it quickly, as we saw in the last fight with no head movement, very poor striking on the feet. And I just feel like all that will be amounting to just a little off night for Jimmy CRUTE, because Alonzo Benefield is a very intimidating looking guy. He also has a lot of pop and he also has some pretty good grappling. So wherever this fight goes, Benefield will be in the fight. As long as he doesn't gas out, I think Benefield's got this one.
Yeah, I'm with that 100%, man. Let's hope Alonzo comes geared up. Let's move into this next one. We got a women's strawweight bout. Yasmin Uruguay 10-0 coming out against Denise Gomez 7-2. A little bit of a firecracker scrap. I'm taking Yasmin and I'm taking over 2.5. Even though Yasmin's a little beast, I'm taking over 2.5 because Denise is tough. What do you got, Goose?
Going Yasmin. She's one of the best women fighters out right now, I think, because she's got good skills on the feet, very impressive, and then she can get it done on the ground as well. I think that looking back, that Loma Lukbumi loss is going to be more similar to the style matchup than Bruna Brazil for Denise Gomez. And I think the Yasmin Paraguay probably gets it done by decision.
All right, let's go. Dana, what do you got?
Give me Yasmin Uruguay too. I'm all aboard the hype train with her. We saw her live in Orlando. She showed out. She got the finish. And I think she will get this one done too. But like you were saying, CEO Denise Gomes, however you say it, is very tough, very durable. So I don't know what the outcome will be, but my pick is going to be with Yasmin.
All right, let's go. We're moving into the next one. We've got JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, 14-2, stepping into the octagon with short notice opponent Josiah the Muscle Hamster Harrell at 7-0. Let's go. Former Geeks Chat alumni stepping in on short notice. Big task, fighting the number 14 ranked guy in the world. This is huge. All right. I'm taking the over in this match. All right. Josiah Harrell is a super tough dude. He's kind of short for this weight class. You guys are gonna kind of see is that he's taking this fight at 170, but he's really a lightweight, so he's probably gonna go back down and fight at 55 after. But dude, this guy's got some absolute fucking legs on him, and he's gonna be shooting. He's gonna be in there getting some good movement. He's a smaller guy, like I'm saying, so he's harder to hit. He's not a big target. So I think Josiah Harrell, he's going to make JDM get to that second round, get to that third round, and then who knows what happens. You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking that over 2.5, and I think Josiah Harrell could definitely make some waves here. What do you got, Goose?
I like where you're at with the over, because I'm still thinking JDM. He's been scheduled to fight here. He was preparing for a grappling opponent. And I think, though, JDM decision, which might be a little juicy there. Everyone's expecting the knockout, but Josiah Harrell, he's tough. He knows how to get to the later rounds in a fight. He's undefeated. So there's definitely something to him. You know, I could see him clinching JDM up against the fence. And if you can make it out of the first round with him, we haven't seen the gas tank over a long period. So I think Josiah Harrell probably makes it out of the first. We see what JDM's really all about once it gets into the nitty gritty. I think JDM by decision.
What do you got, Dano?
I am riding with JDM, and it's just because a lot of factors lead into that. Because we have seen JDM fight a wrestler in Ramzan Aviv. Aviv did get a takedown, but we did see him get right back up. So we know JDM can get up from the ground if he does get taken down. Now you would think maybe he wasn't preparing for a guy like Josiah Harrell, but he's been preparing for Sean Brady, who is pretty insane in the wrestling grappling department. So it's not like he's getting a style change on him. And then Josiah Harrell, for me, he's fought recently, so I feel like he's gonna be a little bit damaged up, at least once the punches and kicks start flowing from JDM. It'll kind of, be a little more tender on the skin for Josiah, just from that recent fight. So I feel like he's kind of in a bad spot, but he is taking a Hail Mary here in the UFC pay-per-view against a legit ass dude. Props to Josiah Harrell, but I gotta ride with JDM.
Fair enough. All right, moving into the prelim featured bout, we got Robbie, the ruthless Lawler, coming out against Niko, the hybrid Price. Let's go, Florida boy. Robbie Lawler's 29-16. Niko Price is 15-6. I'm taking Niko Price. I'm taking the fresher legs. I'm taking the more youthful energy in this one. These guys are gonna come and fucking scrap in the middle of the octagon. Hopefully, Niko Price has a little bit of a fight IQ, just knowing that the first couple minutes are going to be, where the real danger's at, and then he's going to really start be able to start pouring it on him. So I'm taking Niko Price like TKO round 2. What do you got, Dano?
I'm all over Niko Price in this one, and it's as simple as, and I hate to say it, but I feel like Robbie Lawler just isn't Robbie Lawler anymore. We saw him in that Brian Barberena fight come out with a little bit of pop in that first round, and then it slowly just teetered off as the fight goes on. And what is Niko Price? Niko Price is very durable. He knows how to stay in fights, and if you're going to be in a brawl, I would rather get this Niko Price than this Robbie Lawler. Maybe if it was Robbie Lawler's prime, we'd be thinking of something different, but at this time in his career, retirement fights don't usually do these guys too friendly. It's not like the NBA where you can sub in and shoot a 3 or 2. This is a brawl against a brawler in Niko Price. So give me Price, and I like the finish. Don't know what round, but I like the finish.
What do you got, Goose? Let's hear it for your Geek of the Week. The training partner.
Let's go. Obviously, riding with the boy, a little bit of bias there, sure, but I do think he's getting it done Saturday. Honestly, I can see him going out and brawling, but I think that we see a little bit more technical Niko Price in this one. I think he's going to refine it a little bit and really stick to the game plan, because against Robbie Lawler, the one thing you really don't want to do is let it get into a wild scrap. But I think that Niko works the hands a little bit. All right, gets the angles going on Robbie. Starts working the takedowns. I think we see a choke. I think we see a submission win for Niko, the hybrid Price in this one. That might be a little juicier than the TKO, and I think that it's a sneaky play that probably hits. So Niko by submission.
Let's go. All right, main card, first fight, the opener, Dan Hooker coming out against Jalen Turner. Dan Hooker 22-12, Jalen Turner 13-6. This one's really tough for me, bro, because I feel like everyone's taking Jalen Turner. He's longer. He's got the striking. Dan Hooker's been getting hit by guys like Arnold Allen and whatever you want to talk about it. Yeah, he didn't have the best skid, but he was also fighting, away from his family. Remember that whole thing with Australia? The guy couldn't see his family. The guy was constantly taking fights, all this stuff. I think he's back in line. I think he's tuned in again. I think he's a live dog in this because Jalen Turner definitely is going to want to keep this on the feet. And Dan Hooker is really good at that lengthy striking game. Obviously, he's going to have a lot of obstacles here, but Dan Hooker's got some serious weapons. I'm just going to take the over, but I'm definitely gonna say Dan Hooker's a live dog. I don't think that this is like a lock for Jalen, but I'm taking the over. I think these guys are gonna go to a tough decision. What do you got, Goose?
I'm gonna go Jalen Turner by decision. Scratch that. I'm gonna go Jalen Turner by knockout here. I think that he's just got a little bit too much pop on the feet. He does have those super long tarantula arms. And you look at it, Dan Hooker, yeah, he does train with Izzy Adesanya, so he's gonna be kind of used to seeing that look. But you're under the bright lights, you got the 4-ounce gloves on, and Jalen Turner hits like a truck. You know, every time he was touching Gamrot, he was going down their last fight. And I think that Hooker is a guy that gets touched up a little bit, like you mentioned earlier. Obviously, he's going to be pushing in this fight. I think he's got a little something for Turner early, but second round, I think he's getting hit on the button, and Turner's getting the TKO.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Jalen Turner training with Hamzat all these days, and I'm really starting to turn. What do you got, Dano? And what's up, Front Kick? Tuning in for the main card.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I am riding with Jalen Turner in this one, and I hate to say it because I am a Dan Hooker fan, but I feel like Dan Hooker just isn't at that top tier. He doesn't show up for the big fights, and he gets beat in those crucial times, and this is another crucial time of a big pay-per-view, big spot on the main card, high up in the rankings. I feel like Jalen Turner is going to get it done. He definitely beats him on paper in the sense of arm span, height, all that type of stuff. But Jalen Turner is a dog, and Dan Hooker, I feel like Dan Hooker is real good against just like basic ass dudes, but Jalen Turner is going to be too much for him to comprehend in it.
All right, Dano has Jalen Turner by way of Dan Hooker choke. You ripping this one? We got Jalen Turner, Dan Hooker.
So, I mean, this is a viable play in my eyes. When he fought Brad Riddell, I mean, he's kind of a shorter build than shorter, stockier build compared to Hooker. But when he fought Riddell, I said he's gonna knock him down on the feet. He's gonna knock him down. He's gonna jump on him. He's just gonna submit him. And the odds were like plus 700 or something stupid for Jalen Turner sub. And this kid's good on the ground. So I don't know why they had it like that. Picked that up, sniped it. He rocked him and subbed him, and I was like, that was a snipe of a pick. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Turner's sub. I think he's just gonna clip him on the feet, like Goose said, and then he's just gonna jump on top of him, like you said, CEO. He's working with Hamzat. He's gonna be more comfortable on the ground than he even was, and he's gonna feel. I feel like one thing that was missing maybe from his game was the ability to stay on top and hold him down. Maybe that's something that Hamzat is able to rub off on him. So yeah. So hopefully, but Jalen Turner's sub's my pick.
All right,
Yo,
I'm sold.
And Hooker spent some VC in between these fights. He's tatted up. He's got the bleach blonde hair, so a little bit different look for him coming into this one.
Oh, that's right. He's gonna have the shin guards on. All right.
Oh yeah.
Let's move into this next one. We got we lost the Bo Nickel fight as of now. If that comes back around, we'll make a separate video. We'll do a solo breakdown. But for right now, we're going straight into Robert Whittaker, 24-6, coming out against Dricus de Plessis, 19-2. I'm taking Robert Whittaker, the Reaper. I think this is an easy pick. Anybody that's kind of picking Dricus is kind of overthinking this. I don't really get it why the UFC would make this fight, because they obviously see something, which is what really is messing with me right now. Because if they thought it was going to be just a stampede, they wouldn't make it like that. So I'm interested to see what happens, but I'm going to ride with what I know, and that's the Reaper. All right. Goosey, what the hell are you about to say?
DDP, baby. I think Dricus is getting it done in this one, and maybe I'm overthinking it because This fight got announced so long ago, and I think everyone was just like, "Oh, Robert Whittaker's gonna win," but it kind of stayed in my head a little bit. And each week I was like, Dricus, he's got a little better of a shot. He pushes a pace. Mythical 100% oxygen. Dricus is walking in there now too. He got the nose fixed up. Does he get hit? Yeah, but Robert Whittaker, especially recently in his career, has not shown that finishing instinct. And that's really what you would need to put a guy like Dricus away, because he's going to keep walking forward. He's been in the kickboxing game for a while. All right. He did pretty well even against Darren Till in the kickboxing, who held his own, probably honestly outstruck Whittaker a little bit, because in their fight, it was 2-2 going into that fifth round. Whittaker had to take him down and really ride out the fifth round into a 3-2 victory against Till. I think that Dricus is wild enough to hit him with something like that left hook or the elbow Till hit him with. Izzy hit him with that left hook in a wild exchange. That's really what it takes to catch a guy like Robert Whittaker. And I think Dricus might have that recipe, especially you're talking in the plus 300s. Throw a little salt-based sprinkle on there and let it ride, because I think Dricus gets it done in Vegas this weekend.
Bold take. What do you got, Dano?
I'm with Robert Whittaker in this one. I think he is the best middleweight in the world outside of Israel Adesanya. I'll never forget when he fought Marvin Vettori, who Marvin Vettori was on a little bit of a streak right there, and then he kind of just got halted. And after the fight, he was like, Whittaker was too fast. He was too clean. Like, it just froze me up in there. And I think that's what Whittaker does to people. He's just so good everywhere that it's hard to get going in any one specific aspect of the fight, because he will be there. He will, put a speed bump in your plan of whatever you want to do, wrestle, clinch, strike, anything like that. Whittaker's good everywhere. And I think he will expose Dricus in this one. Not necessarily like expose him that Dricus sucks or stinks or anything like that, but just expose him that Dricus is going to come out with a game plan and Whittaker is going to put a stop to it early on, and then Dricus is going to have to improvise.
Interesting. What do you got, Fish?
Bobby Knuckles decision. I'm liking decision, but dude, Bobby, he could crack too. He could get a knockout late. Especially once Dricus's gas tank starts to fade off later in the rounds, but I'm gonna stick to Bobby Knuckles decision. That's my ride on this.
All right, let's go. We got a co-main event here for the strap. Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja. Moreno 21-6-2, Pantoja 25-5. Pantoja already with 2 wins over Moreno, 1 on the tough and 1 in the UFC. 1 by decision, 1 by chokeout. The floor is set for the kid. He's been on deck. He's been calling his name. He swears he's got his number. Now's the time. Only problem is, I think Brandon Moreno is like way better than he used to be back in those days. So I think that this fight's going over. Okay, I think this fight is going to a decision. I think that that's a safe bet. And I also think Moreno's going to have an edge. I think Pantoja is really, really good out the gate. Like, he is really good out the gate. His grappling is insane. But if he can't get into these grappling exchanges with Moreno on a regular basis, and this turns into like a straight up kickboxing match, I'm concerned, because Moreno looked phenomenal in his last time out. Guy looks quick. Guy looks filled out this weight class. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm leaning either way. I want Pantoja to win with everything I got, but something's just telling me Moreno's at a different level right now. So maybe Pantoja early sub, Moreno decision. That's kind of like where I'm like feeling right those ways. Dano, what's your rip? I know Pantoja's your guy.
I am riding with Pantoja in this one. If, like you were saying, stays on the feet, you'll be all right with Moreno's chances. I will be very all right with Pantoja's chances. We saw Pantoja, he was stood and banging with Manel Cop in their fight, and Manel is no joke at all. So I think wherever this fight goes, kind of like my little Whittaker explanation, wherever this fight goes, Pantoja is going to be there. He's going to throw a speed bump in Moreno's game plan, but at the same time, Moreno's good everywhere as well. So I feel like this high caliber of a fight, it's hard for me to break it down, but I'm just gonna ride with Pantoja.
Maybe like a Izzy Pereira situation. Pereira goes up 3-0. What do you got, Goosey? You like that take?
I like Moreno here. I think you look at him, he's like a little Mexican Deadpool in there. You know, he just takes shots, he keeps coming forward. It's really hard to put him away. And I think that for a guy in Pantoja, he's going to have to put him away in the first 2 rounds, because anything after that, Moreno picks up each and every round. He's leveled up, obviously. We see that in his fights with Figueiredo. You know, when you're fighting Figueiredo, you got to stop pretty elite grappling from a dominant opponent who's very big for the division, as well as being able to hold your own on the feet, because Figgy's just coming trying to put you away at all times. And I think that Pantoja is very similar to that, except he is smaller and more grappling based. I think Moreno, if there's one thing that he really got good at, it is wrestling and wrestling defense, as well as the boxing. He's able to slip shots a little bit better, just have a better fight IQ on the feet. And I think that he's just a completely different fighter now than he was. Obviously, Pantoja's got better, but I don't think he's taken as many leaps and bounds as Moreno. So I think Moreno by late decision or late finish, anything round 3, 4, or 5, I think is very live for Moreno in this one.
Interesting. Fishman, what do you got?
My play for this one is Moreno decision, but yeah, these dudes are dangerous as hell. Crazy stat is that both of them combined have 34 finishes. Both of them have never been finished submission wise or knocked out on the feet. So these dudes are dangerous. But I'm riding with Moreno. I trust him to keep Pantoja off of the ground. And I really think that's just his only. I think Pantoja is going to be trying to get it to the ground, and Moreno's just good enough to scramble and keep it up and lay some hands on him. The Mexican hands, boy. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. We're moving into the main event here. We got Alexandre Volkanovski, the pound for pound, 25-2 Aussie. Yair Rodriguez, 15-3 in the other corner. Mexican just put Josh Emmett in a triangle choke, put him away. This is a super, super fire matchup. I think that this is going to be a Volk TKO. I'm getting right to it. All right. Yair's crazy as fuck. We all know it. He's going to come throwing some shit. Volk knows it. All right. One thing that Volk is really good at is wrestling. All right. He's going to wrestle with Yair. He's going to get this fight to the mat. He's going to neutralize all those threats. All right. He's been training with Craig Jones. He's just been drilling submission defense. He's going to take this fight to the mat. And worst comes to worst, Max had a little bit of success on the feet early. Obviously, we saw what Volk did to Max. So Volk's on another level right now. He's going to be able to be mixing it up to a point where Yair's kind of just guessing. So I'm taking Volk, taking the safe bet here. I know Yair's crazy as fuck, but let's be real. Max Holloway was wrestling with him. So let's go. Fishman, you rip this one. We got 3 minutes.
This one's gonna be a hell of a scrap. My head's been going back and forth. But at the end of the day, I think that Volk's the safer pick because of the wrestling. But this dude Pantera, bro. Yair is dangerous as fuck, dude. He was whooping out Emmett up, and that fight was kind of just like, wow, like he's good as fuck, dude. But yeah, dude, dangerous man. But I'm gonna ride with Volk.
What do you got, Goose?
I was going back and forth on this, and then really when I saw how easily how easily Tapiria was beating Emmett up, I think that Volk is on a different level defensively. I think it's gonna be hard to hit him with wild shots. Will he probably put him on jelly legs or make it interesting at some point? Definitely, but I think that Volk's boxing, the leg kicks, and just his overall technical game is going to be a little bit too much for Yair, who's really looking for a wild one-shot victory in this one. I like where your head's at. I do think that he gets the probably round 4 TKO, whether it be from him rocking him and taking it to the ground or him using the wrestling like we saw Max Holloway do late in their fight. I think that just once it gets to the later rounds, because you're throwing wild stuff all the time. The gas tank can only take so much. So I think Volk, a guy that's proven to go 25 minutes hard every time. I think around that, you get into the 10-minute mark in this fight, Volk's probably going to start taking over and get the TKO. So that's what I'm going with.
Dana, what do you got?
I'm riding with Volkanovski. I feel like this is going to be the card of the balanced fighters. And we have a striking specialist in Yair Rodriguez, but I just feel like you guys have been saying wrestling's not all the way there. And I feel like his finishing ability isn't there to where we got to be super worried about Volk if Volk does get in trouble. We have seen Volk get out of the Ortega sub. We have seen Volk take a lot of strikes, even get knocked down from Holloway, right back in the fight. And you guys have been pretty much singing the praises of Volk. He's just super durable, super good everywhere. If Yair pulls it off, I feel like it's going to have to be an Edwards Usman type fight where Volk goes out cold. And other than that, I just think it's going to be all Volk. It's hard for me not to. Volk's on the momentum of a career of a Hall of Fame legend, whatever. He's got it right now. He's got it rolling.
Let's go. All right, those are the picks and predictions. Thanks for tuning in. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. We're riding with Volk. Stay tuned to the Geek Sheet. Things change, man. Things change early in the week. Stay tuned for that Bo video. Let's go. Thanks for tuning in.